Welcome to another video for Design 101, Intro to Design Technology at Ivy Tech Community College. In this video, we're going to be working through a drawing together. We're going to be creating this isometric drawing that you can see right here. Now remember, from our lecture, an isometric drawing is still a 2D drawing, but it gives the appearance of a 3D object. So it's really kind of a 2D representation of a 3D object. It's sort of halfway between a flat 2D sketch and a 3D model. And it's what a lot of people did for a long time before 3D modeling really became available easily to be used in the workplace. So it's sort of the infancy or the precursor to 3D modeling. People did isometric sketches to give pictorial views to someone who is looking at their drawing. So it's still a very, very useful skill. So that's why we're going to talk about isometric drawings. So we're going to be working in AutoCAD to create this quick, easy isometric sketch. But before we do that, you're going to have to make sure that you have AutoCAD installed on your computer. And if you haven't, you'll probably want to pause the video and do that first. And remember, I have that in Blackboard for you. If you go to our Blackboard page over on the left-hand side, I have an AutoCAD download site button. That will take you to the Autodesk web page. Autodesk is the software publisher that puts out the AutoCAD program. And if you have trouble going through this download and install process, I made a video down here that will help you with that. It's a video of me putting AutoCAD onto my laptop. So here's where you can get the AutoCAD software for free since you're a student, and here is where you can get some help downloading and installing it. And make sure when you sign up for the Autodesk website that you use your Ivy Tech email because it has a .edu extension on the end. So assuming you've already downloaded AutoCAD and installed it and you're ready to go, we're going to look at actually creating this sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and open up AutoCAD. And I'm going to make a new drawing. You can also do Control-N on the keyboard or go up here to the application menu and choose new. And I'm just going to use the AutoCAD template and hit open. And then I get a new drawing that opens up that I can begin drawing in. But before I do that, I'm going to go through and set up some of the way that this drawing appears and some of my different drawing settings. So I'm going to kind of walk you through how to get this interface ready to create an isometric sketch if you're not familiar with AutoCAD. Now, if you're not familiar with AutoCAD, yours may look a little bit different than mine depending on what version you're using. I'm using 2016, but if you're using a newer or older version, it may look slightly different. But up here at the top, you can see on the Home tab, we have all of our basic sketching tools. So AutoCAD is mostly used for 2D sketching. Down here at the bottom, I have what's called the command line. This is sort of like AutoCAD's voice, and this is where it will ask you for things or give you information while you're drawing. So very important that you keep the command line down here open. And then underneath that, I have a series of buttons that I can turn features on or off in AutoCAD. And it's very useful to have these as well. So one of the things that I'm going to turn off right here is the drawing grid. So I can turn that off. I don't like to use it when I do isometric sketches, so I'm going to turn that off. Or you can also hit F7 on your keyboard. That will do the same thing. I'm also going to turn on what's called polar tracking, and I'm going to do that by hitting F10. So you can see when I hit F10, it will give me a little pop-up here that says polar on. Or if I hit F10 again, it will say polar off. So your command line will tell you whether that's turned on or off. And one other tip about the command line, if you want, you can take this little set of dots over here at the left-hand side and do what's called docking the command line, where it makes it permanently visible. I like that a little bit better. That's the way AutoCAD has been for a long time, so I'm just used to it. But if you like it floating in the middle, like this, that's perfectly acceptable too. But I prefer to dock it, so I'm just going to dock mine right there. I think it's a little easier to see. I'm also going to turn on Object Snap, which is F3, so you can either turn that on with the button down here or hit F3 on your keyboard. Then, to kind of set up our last set of things here, I'm going to right-click one of these buttons down here and go to Settings. So you can really choose just about any of these buttons, but right-click one of them and you're going to go to Settings. And once you get into this Drafting Settings menu, you're going to go to the very top left Snap and Grid tab. And then here's the important part. I'm going to turn on Isometric Snap and hit OK. And you'll see when I do that, my cursor changes from white crosshairs to red and green crosshairs, and they're also at an isometric angle. So remember, in our isometric drawing, all the angles are 120 degrees apart, each of the axes. So that would mean that in AutoCAD, most of what I draw is either going to be a 30-degree angle or a 150-degree angle or vertically straight up and down. One final thing you're going to want to do here is adjust your drawing angle in AutoCAD. Right now when I draw a line, notice for instance that I can lock to 0 degrees or 90 degrees in 90-degree increments, but I can't lock to anything in between there. And for an isometric drawing, I'm going to want to be able to snap on to some different angles like 30 or 60. So if you find your polar tracking button that we turned on just a second ago, you can right-click that, and you have a number of options here as to what angle increments you can lock onto. So I'm going to go ahead and set mine to 30 for this. So I'm going to lock on to every 30 degrees, and then you can see here AutoCAD would give you some other angles that would be available. So I can lock on to 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to right-click that polar tracking button and choose 30 degrees. So at this point we're ready to draw, but one thing that I'm going to show you is how to toggle your ISO plane. The new version of AutoCAD down here has an ISO plane button where you can choose which ISO plane you want, but the older versions didn't have that. The older versions you would just hit F5 on your keyboard, and every time I hit F5, notice it changes between the 3 ISO planes. So there's the left ISO plane, the top ISO plane, and the right ISO plane. So every time I hit F5 on my keyboard, it rotates to one of the other ISO planes. And if we look at our drawing, drawing number 1 that we're going to be working on here, this would be my left ISO plane, everything over here would be my right ISO plane, and this would be my top ISO plane. And if you need this drawing, you can go to our week by week folder for today, which is week 5 online, and just click the link right here if you need a copy of it. So that's where I'm going to be pulling this drawing from. If you're curious as to where I got this and how I pulled it up, just go to week 5 and hit the button right here. Okay, so we're ready to start drawing now. So I'm going to start in the left ISO plane and basically draw out this shape. So it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across, 3 up, 1 over, 2 up, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and start the line command in AutoCAD and basically draw out this shape. So I'll take my line command. You can also hit L on the keyboard, and I'm just going to hit F5 a couple times to get onto the correct ISO plane. And I'm just going to pick a start point. It's arbitrary. It doesn't matter where you start. So I'm going to start right there. And notice I'm going down at either 30 degrees or 150. So here 150, 30, 330, and then 210. So those are my isometric angles. So I'm going to start by just going down at 330, and we said it's 5 units. So I'm just going to type in 5 and hit enter, and you'll notice I can point my cursor whatever direction I want to draw, type in the distance and hit enter, and AutoCAD will jump that direction. So I've basically drawn this line. Now I'm going to go up 3, over 1, up 2, up 3. I'm going to go back at 30 degrees or 150 degrees, however you want to look at it. 1 unit, and then straight up 2. I'm going to go back this way 3 units. Down 3, over 1, and back to the beginning. So down 3, over 1, and then back to the beginning. And then I can hit escape. And there's our first left isoplane for the sketch that we've created. As far as navigating this drawing, you'll see I'm zooming in and out with the cursor. Or you can also use these tools over here. Your zoom button is right here. You have some different zooming options. I like to just use the mouse. So the scroll wheel on the mouse will zoom in and out, or you can click it and hold it to pan around. So I prefer just to use the mouse, but the same buttons are over here, so you can pan over here as well. So you'll notice I'm panning and zooming in and out as I draw. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my right isoplane now just by hitting F5 again. And I'll have to hit it twice. So there's my right isoplane. And now I'm going to add in this face right here. So I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units and up 5 units. So I'll go back to the line tool and just kind of lock on right here. And you'll notice I'm going back at 30 degrees. Most people think this is 45, but it's not. It's 30 degrees. So I'm going to go back 5, straight up 5. I'm back down at 210 degrees, 1 unit. And I'm just going to work my way around. There we go. So notice I've used all isometric axes here, all isometric lines, and I'm on the right isoplane there. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch to my top isoplane, which would be up here, and I'm going to start at this point and just draw this section out. So I'm going to go back 5 units, down 2, and so on and so forth. So hitting F5 again, I switch to my top isoplane, grab the line tool, go back 5 units, down 2, over 1, down 3. I'll hit escape. Now I'm going to jump over to here. So notice when I hit escape, that ends the line command. I'm going to grab the line tool, start right here. I'm going to go back 1, over this way 1, and you'll kind of get a feel for this after a while where you don't really even have to pay attention to the angles. It's good starting out, but after a while you'll kind of get a feel for what's right and what's wrong, and you can start to ignore the angles as you draw because you'll just kind of figure out where they're supposed to go. So to finish this, I'm going to put in this line right here and a couple of these other detail lines like this one and this one. These are easy to forget. So I'm going to start right here and come down 1, 2, 3 units, or sorry, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back to this corner. So I'm going to start at this point and come down 4, and then go to the other corner. I'll hit escape and go right back into the line command to add this section. Hit escape, go to the line command, come down 2 right here. And I'll give you a tip at this point. If you're tired of hitting escape and going back to the line command, you can hit the spacebar to end a command, and you can hit the spacebar again to repeat the last command. So this becomes very helpful if I'm drawing lines. I can end a command and jump right back into it again, and it saves you a lot of time of having to go up here and hit this line button over and over and over. So spacebar is a great button to know when you're drawing in AutoCAD. It's essentially the same as hitting the enter key. So here I'm done. I'll hit spacebar, hit it again. I'm right back in the line command. And you'll notice I just keep hitting spacebar over and over every time I want to end or start a line. So there you have it. Just some basic drawing setup for your first isometric drawing, and how to get the angles set at 30 degrees since we have an isometric drawing where we have equal angles between all the axes, and then how to switch between your isoplanes and sketch out some basic line shapes. So that's it for this one. Give it a try on your own. Good luck. If you have any questions, you can always email me. It's jhamilton83@ivtech.edu, or you can stop by my office, T316 of the Technology Building. So good luck. Give it a try on your own, and I'll see you in class.